G'day guys, today's a good one. It is a book I've been looking forward to review for a very long time. One of my favourite characters, one of his best runs. I present to you the Immaculate Collection of Nightwing by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo, Volume 1. It arrived about an hour and a half ago. Quickly set up everything because I want to enjoy this with you guys because I know a lot of you have been looking forward to this one. Before I start though, I'm just going to tell you about my love for Nightwing. My love for Nightwing started in the late 90s thanks to Wizard magazine. The magazine that told us in the 90s what we should be reading, what was good and what wasn't. Now, a few of you might be asking, what is a Wizard magazine? Wizard magazine came out from the early 90s all the way through to the early 2000s, and it's basically the internet in paper form. It told us exactly what we should be reading, what was good, what wasn't. It even had casting news, and it let us know what your comics were worth. Now, every so often, they just bombarded you with comics that they said were really good runs, and Nightwing was definitely a showcase run back in the 90s. I managed to track down all the copies back then by Chuck Dixon and Scott McDaniel, and I loved it from beginning to end. I've read quite a few Nightwing since then, but I don't think anyone has captured the character as well as these guys have. When a new creative team joins the comic, they like to put their own status quo on the book. This one's no exception. It basically starts with Nightwing inheriting billions of dollars from Alfred after his untimely death over in Batman and deciding what to do with that money. It does have a really good vibe to the whole storyline, but the fleshed out characters and the dynamic artwork are just brilliant from the beginning. In fact, I would go out there to saying that these guys, this creative team on this book, including the brilliant covers, is one of the best comic book creative teams of all time on any comic. The way they gel from beginning to end is just incredible. Even if you're not a Nightwing fan, I imagine you're going to like this one. We get introduced to a whole new slew of characters, including some really good villains that I'll talk about once I flip through this. So even though it is a more light-hearted book, we get some very dark villains within. We also get more of an establishment of the Batgirl and Nightwing relationship. So who is Nightwing? If you don't know who Nightwing is, come on, really. I mean, he's Dick Grayson. He was the original Robin. He graduated from Robin to be Nightwing and decided to set off on his own little adventure over in Bloodhaven, a town adjacent to Gotham. I think DC know they're onto something really nice with this collection because they've done a very nice foil spot varnish on the front and on the spine. It looks incredible. I can't wait to open it. Oh, it's even on the back as well. You can see it there. I hope it comes up on the camera. So I'll just turn it a little bit in case it reflects in the light. Beautiful looking book. I think the only thing I don't like about it so far is it's pretty thin. I don't necessarily agree that this should have been split between two omnibuses, but how much is it? It was only $100 US, so that makes $180 Australian, or it was $130 on Comics Etc. Direct. Great value for money, but considering what it is. But let's open it up, and I'd like to get reacquainted with the character along with you guys. One thing I'd just like to point out to you guys that I read this in single issues when it first came out, so I need a bit of a refresher on what happens during it. I didn't want to read this before I opened this one because I wanted to be surprised with you guys. Let's open it up. Look at that. That is absolutely beautiful slipcase. If you've seen my videos before, you know I absolutely hate slipcases, but that is a really nice slipcase. Let's have a look. Oh, more spot varnish on the inside. That is excellent. Look at that. Really good. We get a breakdown of who Tom Taylor and Bruno is, in case you didn't know. I'll read that. And here we go. Let's have a look at it without the slipcase on. Not bad, not bad. Okay spine, okay back cover. Look, the spine does it justice, but that cover kind of sucks. Which is really disappointing because the whole storyline has really good covers. All right, let's open it up and have a look. Contents page, very nice opening splash page. Table of contents. Who does the introduction here? Oh, Tom actually does the introduction. This is a very good introduction. Oh wow, it even includes the email from the original editor asking him to be the new writer. That is really, really, really cool. Oh wow, it's even got his reply there. That is awesome. That is awesome stuff. Wow, I can't wait to actually read that. Very personal, I can't believe that. I've never seen that before in a book. Really good. All right, first issue cover. Let's have a look through it. We can already see straight away that the artwork in it is fantastic. Look at the splash pages. Bruno does some of the best splash pages in all of DC Comics. Okay, we get introduced to Dick Grayson's three-legged new dog. And I believe that's Blockbuster, one of the original Nightwing villains. And of course, there's Barbara Gordon. God, look at that, it's beautiful. Is that issue 1 already? God, issue 1 was good. So one of the big storylines that oh look at that, isn't that nice? An evolution of his costumes. Whoever thought that one was a good idea? And here in the second issue is when we find out that he is going to inherit a lot of money, I believe. I could be wrong there. Like I said, it's been a long time since I read it, but this is really important. This is the introduction of, I think his name was Heartless, if I remember correctly. I'll find out in a few seconds. He's a supervillain that is stealing people's hearts. What is he doing with them? You're gonna have to read the entire run to find out. But this villain sticks through from the very beginning to the very end, and he's evil. So if you're worried about darkness being in this comic, there is definitely some dark bits. Some stunning artwork again. The gloss is really good on this. This is one of my favorite productions, actually. Okay, so the first storyline pretty much is all about setting Nightwing up in his new status quo. We get introduced to all the different characters again, like his connection to Babs and Robin, his brand new dog, him buying an apartment building, and like I mentioned, Heartless being the main villain of the storyline. Really good character design too. I'd like to, well done, Bruno. Oh wow, we even get a breakdown of how Bruno did that cover. So let's see how it ended up. Oh yeah. Very nice. Bloodhaven gets a brand new mare. Okay, so this is one of the spoilers in it. It happens pretty early on, so I don't mind actually giving you guys the spoiler. It turns out that the new mare, I'm pretty sure she's the new mare, is Nightwing's sister. Who is she? How did she come to be around? You got to read this issue here. They don't leave you hanging for too long, which is nice in books like this, so there isn't such a big mystery. And once again, we get a breakdown process of the art by Bruno. Going to flip through. See, look at that. Look at that layout. One of the other reasons that I'm going to say that I think DC are onto something really good here is the fact that they're giving us so much information in the trade paperback, the omnibus already. Like, I don't think I've ever seen this in an omnibus before. They clearly know they're onto something good when they're doing that. Flip through. Okay, so it does include some of the issues that they did for Fear. Okay, yeah. Like with all the runs on comics these days, it is interrupted by a crossover, which kind of takes you out of the storyline for a bit. Thankfully, this one only goes for a couple of issues, the Fear State. It does forward on the storyline though, so it's not actually that bad. You do get a different artist though. Matches up with the writing style quite well. What's that? Okay, more Fear State. And then we jump back into the regular storyline with Blood Brothers. Actually, I think that was the annual. Is that the annual? Yeah, might be the annual. Red Hood makes an appearance. Clearly a flashback because Alfred is there. Exploring the relationship between Red Hood and Nightwing. Nightwing, get Grayson. God, I could look at this all day. If you read these comics digitally, this is the perfect example of why you should be buying the physical copies. You don't get this stuff in the digital. It's just, look at that. Oh wait, this is the special issue. All right, I should tell you about this one. So issue 87, I believe, is the one big chase scene. So we start here, and then we get to see him go all the way through in one big, long chase. So if you wanted to, you could get this entire issue and piece it all together like a jigsaw puzzle and tell a whole story on it. That's fantastic. Look, this book is phenomenal. I think this is one of the best omnibuses I've ever seen in my entire life. The Flash crossover issues, they were okay. And let's just go to the end because I'm curious what issue it goes up to. I could just look at the front, but I don't want to do that. Okay, so it ends on issue 79. No, 96. It ends on issue 96. There'll probably be one more omnibus, but I think it'll be a bit bigger than the other ones. This is the lead up to issue 100. I won't spoil it for you, so I'm just going to quickly go there. There's a big fight, and we get the cover gallery. Nice artwork, but definitely not as good as the original covers that were on the issue.
Some of them were.
I think they're all the...
No, like that other one where they're holding the rope is definitely one of the regular covers.
second printing cover, apparently.
You're right.
That one?
No, left, sorry. No,
Yeah, apparently there's a second printing. Look at those. Great artwork. All the different covers. All the variants. Oh! The swimsuit special. And then what we have here is the character breakdowns. This is the best omnibus I've ever seen. This is fantastic. Take note, everyone. This is how you do it. Love it. Well done. You already know. Loved it from beginning to end. The second volume I can't wait for. I hope they don't take too long. I'd like to really applaud DC for putting this out so quickly compared to when the series actually finished. That is really applaudable. A lot of the time you have to wait for like 5-6 years after a storyline finishes to get omnibuses, but DC has been doing an incredibly good job of getting these out very quickly. The art is flawless, the covers are flawless, the writing is top notch. This is a must buy for anyone who's ever wanted to try the character, or even someone who wants something fresh and new that you don't feel often in comics, because this run is just fun. And that is such a rare thing to get in comics in 2025, a fun run. So what are you waiting for? Go out and buy it. You definitely won't be disappointed.